Hey guys, it's Nick back for another video. No, I haven't exactly been active on the channel for a while. I've been busy, but I am back and I've got a very special guest on the show today because he is also a YouTuber. So today we have got Mr. Andrew West. So Andrew, thanks for being on the show.
Hey, no worries, man. Good to see you guys and looking forward to this. Let's get started.
All right. So just in case any of my subscribers don't already know who you are, although I think the crossover is pretty big, just to give them a little bit of an idea of what you were doing before you got into digital marketing and just how you learned it and, your background.
Yeah, the whole thing. Yeah, so just to give a really quick background, I got my first job in, I think, 2016 or 2017, a year or two ago. And before that, I was going to university while working as a waiter. I knew I had been drop shipping for a while, so I was familiar with Facebook ads and Google ads, and a bunch of things kind of happened at the same time. So one thing I did, I wrote to this Aaron Clay guy, which is a sort of consulting channel that gives advice to guys on, finding the right career, finding the right thing. He recommended me to drop out. At the same time, I discovered that there was people landing jobs in digital marketing. So what I did, I dropped out of university, applied for a shit ton of jobs, and landed my first role as a PPC executive. And then from there, I've been moving between jobs, very quickly, just to get my pay up as fast as possible. And now that I had a bunch of savings, I was making money from other, outside of my work businesses. And now I'm just traveling. I'm in Japan right now. And that's it.
Nice. And, obviously don't go into too much detail and don't reveal their identities, but what kind of jobs have you been doing in digital marketing, like PPC, SEO, and what have your responsibilities been?
Yeah, so I started out with PPC, and my first role was actually at a very large agency that focuses on branding, and that's honestly the perfect first job because branding is digital marketing for people that don't know how to do digital marketing. Like, we always joke about this. Like,
Yep.
There's guys literally like making 80K a year in branding that don't know how to generate profit with ads, because I was working with a company that's like they're worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and to them PPC it's just something that they don't care what happens, because what happens with very large companies is there's so much bureaucracy and so much money involved that companies will often end up wasting tons of money and just not really tracking it. So, for example, I was managing a $1 million ad budget, and as an agency, I was kind of reporting to the head of marketing of that huge massive company. So to them, the $1 million they're spending on me, that was just, oh, we have to do PPC because the internet says PPC is a big thing. But to them, that $1 million wasn't really a lot of money. So it was a very kind of low pressure way for me to practice and get familiar with the platform. So I started with that PPC branding. Second role, I moved to an in-house position. And if you ever want to kind of raise your pay, in-house is the way to go. My salary went up by almost 50% just by moving into that. And the cool thing with in-house is that you get paid more, you have more responsibility, but also very often you're a lot more autonomous. So I had to kind of come up with more of the strategies. I added the Facebook ads to the business. So I started doing, retargeting ads. I had some campaigns that were very successful. And after that, I decided to, switch jobs again. And this is all within a 1 year period, which is something that people would normally tell you, hey, Andrew, you don't want to move jobs too fast because then nobody's going to hire you. But as long as you don't leave your job until you have an offer on the table, that's not really an issue. It's not the most loyal thing to do, but as long as you're not breaking any contact rules, you're fine, right? Just in the same way, companies don't worry too much about firing you if you're losing the money. You shouldn't feel bad about leaving a company if you find a much better opportunity. And right. The third one I landed after this.
Sorry, I was just going to say, you got to think about it. If companies will just fire you just like that, they really can't get mad at us for jumping jobs.
Yeah. And also, I think as an employee, we tend to overestimate how important we are to the company. Every time I've ever left a role, I was thinking, they're going to be pissed. Because, I was making money for these. Well, not the first company, I wasn't really making the money, but the second one I was. And I was like, they're going to be pissed. By the end of the day, people don't give a fuck. Everybody's got their own life going on. Like if you leave, it's like for maybe one day they'll be kind of worried about it, but then they kind of they switch on to the next thing. It's people have short memory, short attention spans, so nobody's gonna hold it against you long term if you leave. So it's cool. And then my last role, which was fucking amazing. It was like 90% Facebook ads, 10% Google ads, and I was working in an agency which was transitioning into an in-house role. Into an in-house company. So basically, the way they started out, they started in 2016 doing CPA marketing, and CPA marketing is basically affiliate marketing. So every sale I get you pay me a commission, and based on that model, they did like $1.6 million in profit in their first year of business. And then they were like, you know what, we're fucking amazing at this stuff. We have tons of data. Let's start launching our own product brands. And in 2017, they launched 2 like physical product brands in the beauty space, which after 2 years, like when I left, both brands were on track to do over 5 million in revenue for 2018. So like super fast growth. These guys really know what they're doing, and that role was amazing because I learned lots of stuff. And also something that you'll notice in very informal, so in like very fast-paced agencies, the type of people you're going to work with are very smart entrepreneurial people that are also like very chill. Like we would, we have so many like fucked up jokes going on in the office. Always interesting ideas bouncing around. We were all like into the same stuff, which is all very cool. Because like I'm sure it's the same for you, Nick. Because like lots of people like into digital marketing tend to be more on the nerdier side. So it's cool to be in an environment where like everybody has the same interest. Like I remember, do you watch the Joe Rogan show?
Watch the what?
Yeah, have you ever seen the Joe Rogan show, the Joe Rogan Experience?
It sounds familiar, but I've never actually watched it.
Okay, yeah. So he's this guy that he interviews like big people, and I remember like when there was this episode where like he interviewed Elon Musk. So that was like the famous thing where Elon Musk smoked weed on live stream, and basically it was just kind of like a big event. And I remember that like everyone in the office during work hours was watching the same like live stream at the same time. And I just thought it's so cool that we all have like such similar interests. And then after that, I had I had a bunch of money saved up. I had built a bunch of skills. So I said, I'm just I'm going to travel. But that last role was the most important one for me because once I was working at the company, like this is a company that was building from scratch 7-figure e-commerce brands, and I got to see how that happened. I got to like take part in it. Like some of the products that were doing 6 figures monthly, I was the one that kind of launched those products. So like the third job was really decisive for me, and that's why I tell people like we don't expect too much from your first job. Like your initial goal is just to get your foot in the door, and then once your experience is somewhat legitimized, you're gonna have doors open up. And then that's where you want to look for a company that's actually crushing it. And that's it.
And I think that's really well said. And, one thing I always got to ask, it's the big $1 million question on everyone's mind. How in the living fuck are they giving you $1 million of ad spend or however much you've managed before without a college degree or without studying marketing? Dude, like how does that even happen? Because we all know college is where you go to learn marketable skills. That's just, you can't question shit like that. So tell us, how did you do it, man?
Yeah. So there's two parts to that question. So first thing I want to stress, and this is something that I'm trying to get over as well, because once you get over like this mental block, I think so many doors open. The first thing you need to understand is $1 million isn't a lot of money, right? Once again, like this is a company. I said they're doing hundreds of millions. They might be worth even more than that. But like to them, $1 million isn't a big deal. First of all, so and if they had to invest money in multiple people just to manage $1 million worth of money, it would cost them too much. Then in terms of the degree stuff, if you're watching this video, you're already of the same mindset, but degrees are bullshit for so many reasons. The main thing is what you're studying a degree is not related to what you'll be doing on the job. And this is the main thing. Because like at my second job, we had this intern. She had 2 master's degrees in marketing, and she was working for free under me with no degree. And I would talk to her and ask about what she'd been doing, and all of these marketing, like whatever you're going to learn in a marketing course at the university is just going to be textbook stuff that hasn't been field tested, that hasn't been updated in years. And the reason it's this way is because universities have no financial incentive to actually change their programs. So yeah, you're just not learning the right skills, and also nobody really respects university anymore because it's sort of inflated, right? Like anybody can get a degree nowadays. So you having a degree isn't even a symbol of you having any dedication or above average intelligence, right? Most entrepreneurs you're going to be working for are either dropouts or they think their degree was bullshit. So they're not. It doesn't matter. And also another thing, when you're going into an interview, like if you know your shit, if you come across confident, like I've actually had people be especially impressed because I don't have a degree, right? Like every time I'd have a catch up with my boss would always be like, "Oh, Andrew, sometimes I just think it's so fucking cool that you're just 22 and you just skipped the whole process." So you don't need it, and you're learning the wrong stuff. Like knowing how to do actual AdWords is way more important than you having a degree in some bullshit.
Right. And kind of to add on top of that, because, unlike everyone else here, I'm actually still in college, but I have a really weird situation. Like, I don't want to go into too much detail, but I'm essentially getting paid to go to school. So I'm scamming the scammers. But what I've kind of studied this a lot recently, and how a lot of people complain that university doesn't teach them the skills they need to know, or that it doesn't do what it used to. Well, what interesting thing is what I've kind of seen, it was never designed to. It was never designed to teach you skills, with the exception if you want to be like a doctor, lawyer, or engineer. And even then, it's academic, so it just means it's trying to expand your mind and teach you theory. If the purpose was to teach you skills, it would be more like trade school. And they're obviously different. That's why they have different names.
Yeah,
but
that's good. Yeah,
so I'm just like, people say, why can't university teach you marketable skills anymore? Yeah. It never did, and it was never designed to.
I mean, I guess you can say that, like, my personal experience going through, when I was in high school, I have seen, like, many teachers saying that, like, you won't be able to have a good career without a degree. And I guess that's really anecdotal, but I don't know. For the people watching, all you need to know is you go to university to expand your mind, but not to learn marketable skills. What are you doing in university, by the way?
What was that?
What are you doing in university, by the way?
I'm a mechanical engineering major. I might just switch to civil, because I mean, there are problems with engineering, but I still do believe that as an engineer, something that kind of teaches you a skill, you'll still have better career prospects than if you just study history or some bullshit like that.
Yeah.
But one thing I was going to point out is another thing is some people still feel a little bit bad about having a degree. One thing is, I say, for the most part, okay, cool, I'm not muted. For the most part, companies don't care how you learn the skills you have. They just care that you did learn it and that you can apply what you've learned.
Yeah, and that's actually a good point, because like the companies are most likely to discriminate against you for lack of degree are the huge companies, right? Like if you're trying to get a job at the only one I can think of is the company I worked for as a client. Let's say you want to get a job at Coca-Cola or at Microsoft. Like I actually have someone who took my course and got a job at Microsoft in PPC. And well, with a company like Microsoft, they have so many applicants and they have such a reputation that they're going to screen out people without degrees. But most of the agencies, which are the places you want to work at anyway, most of those ones, they don't care. And even the companies that do discriminate, so let's say like a company like Microsoft, right? It will be very hard to get your first job at Microsoft without a degree. But if you have experience in digital marketing at an agency, right, you're going to be ahead of someone with no experience and a degree applying for Microsoft.
Right. And so let's kind of wrap it back to your story, because I feel like we went on a tangent. So that's what you have been doing. That's your background. What are you doing now, digital marketing wise?
Yeah, I've been doing like too many things at the same time, to be honest. But my main things, like my main income sources right now, have been drop shipping, which I'm still not 100% sure like how deep I want to kind of go with it in terms of pursuing it. I'm selling a course on how to get jobs in digital marketing, and then I kind of just closed like got like two people for remote gigs, where basically I'm starting like a trial for like a small pay, and if the trial is successful, I transition into higher pay. So like right now I've got these kind of four things I'm juggling. I've got another fifth client I've got a phone call with next week. Um, and my goal for like the past 6 months has been really testing out different things and just having fun traveling. Like I've been working a lot less, kind of going out a lot. And this is something that if you are getting started in digital marketing now, you might want to consider like even preparing for. So like, and the way I put myself into this situation was I saved lots of money. Like I always tell people, like save as much money as you possibly can while you're working as a digital marketer. Because then what happened was, around November, I had enough money saved up where I was like, I could make no money for the next 6 months and still comfortably cover all of my expenses. And then I decided to, travel, move to Malaysia, did a bunch of business tests, and now I'm here in Japan. So yeah, I was making more money when I was working, but now I've got like more options, more opportunities, and it's more fun.
Nice. So essentially you're going through just a bunch of different iterations. Like
Yeah,
once you found something, you're just going to like, boom, concentrate on that, right? Okay, nice. And so another thing is, so what do your parents think of what you're doing just as this career?
yeah.
And just
So
the path your life has taken these past 2 years or so?
yeah. So I mean, that's funny. Okay, so with so with my mum, I think like all mums are the same. Like mums just they don't want you to take a risk, and as long as you're safe, they're happy. So when I first started out of university, she was very scared, and now that I have a job and do well, like she's always uh like she doesn't she's not really aware of like how well I'm doing, and she's always but she's just supportive. So like your parents, they especially your mom is always going to doubt you when you start out. But as long as you can get results to back up what you're doing, you'll be fine, right? I think people worry too much about what their parents think. You should just focus on, go out. They're gonna give you shit. Like I got lots of shit, especially from my grandparents, because they really wanted me to go to university. But you just if you actually focus on this stuff and actually put in the work, within 6 months, you're definitely gonna have some sort of income or results to back it up. And at that point, they can't really say shit to you. And even if they do say shit to you, like all you have to do is move out, because at this point you can afford it.
Yeah, because what a lot of people forget is, I mean, obviously, if you're not 18 yet, you're not 18. But after 18, you are legally an adult. So legally, your parents have no say in what you do. At the end of the day, it's your decision. This doesn't mean you completely ignore them and you don't at least think about what they're telling you. But at the end of the day, it's your decision, not theirs. So you're doing all of that, even though we kind of joke we're kind of small potatoes a little bit compared to some people we've seen in the course, we're still doing a lot better than the average person, in their early 20s. Most people our age are either in college right now, or if they're out of college, they have a crap ton of debt. Do you ever experience what I call like success isolation, where as there are so few like-minded people like you in your immediate area that you start feeling kind of isolated? And if you do, like, what do you do to kind of help with that?
Yeah, so I'm still friends with very few of the people I used to be friends with. And actually, one lesson I've learned recently is you need to really learn to kind of compartmentalize your friends. So just because you become more success oriented doesn't mean you have to ditch all of your friends that aren't like that. Just stay away from them while you're focusing on your path. So like I've got friends where like these are two of my best friends ever, and like all of our conversations are like fucked up memes and manga recommendations, right? And this is stuff that has nothing to do with success, but like those are my dumb shit friends. And then what you need to do is you need to create your kind of smart shit friends. And then whenever you're working on yourself, like you need ideas on how to like Like if I need ideas on like how to like fix a proposal. So for example, one of the clients I closed, I had a proposal together. I'm not going to ask my dumb friends, and I don't mean dumb in a bad way, like the friends I do dumb shit with. I'm not going to ask them for advice. I'm going to ask advice from my kind of higher level friends. And once again, when I say higher level, it's not really a moral thing. It's just like where their goals are at. And the best way to meet these people is the internet. Because you said it right, there's not many people like us. But let's say like there's only 1% of the population has our mindset. Guess what? There's like 3 billion people on the internet. I mean, there's more than 3 billion, but let's say there's 3 billion people on the internet. Like 1% of that, that's a shit ton of people. So, I've met tons of people. Some I reach out to them through cold emailing, like you. I just hit you up on Facebook Messenger. Like my advice is just find a couple of people, and then you just kind of network with them. And also another thing, people tend to overestimate like how important networking is. Like I think there should be like a baseline of a network that you have of people you can rely on. But then once you kind of got that baseline, at the end of the day, you should just focus on like lots of your results are going to depend on like the work you put in.
Right. I mean, honestly, I didn't think networking was really important, but I will say some of the clients I've got right now, because, the first website I ever managed long-term and got paid for, that was because my mom's organization needed someone. So I'd say even though LinkedIn and Upwork, they definitely have the most amount of available jobs that you can apply to, but I'd say the easiest jobs you will ever get, especially in the beginning, are the ones where you either know someone or get referred by someone.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
It's just the easiest way to go. And I mean, what you got to understand is nobody likes hiring. All the hiring managers and all the clients, they just want to get the hiring process over as soon as possible. No one likes just shifting through a crap ton of applications.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also paying commissions to recruiters, right?
Oh, yes.
If you get hired for a job board, like that might cost the company like $1,000 to $2,000 that they have to pay to a recruiter that found you. Whereas if you get connected with someone else, it's free. Yeah. Funny enough, actually, one of the 2 gigs that I've got, this is for like an e-commerce brand in the UK, I got referred by a guy who bought my course and got a job at that company. So, and once again, that call was super easy because someone inside the company was vouching for my skills.
And so while we're on the topic of just online courses, obviously you have your own course, and before that you were an alum of Seth's course. What would you say is the biggest mistake you see somebody make when they take a course like yours or Seth's?
It's the same mistake that I make when I take other people's courses. It's 2 parts. First of all is lack of discipline. So many times people will kind of go through and not do all the stuff, right? Like me, myself, when I take a course, I'll go through it like at least twice. And then people overestimated their ability to understand the content of a course, right? Like very often, like, and this is me as well, right? When you go for a course, you apply for information, it doesn't work out. And most people's default assumption is, I did everything right and this course doesn't work. But when you actually look at people, and this is why I do consultations, by the way, very often, like, I'll say one thing in a course, but people watch it and then they kind of reinterpret it and then they do their own little version of it and that thing doesn't work. So lots of success in terms of replicated systems comes down to your ability to actually follow instructions as close as possible, right? That's why I also recommend when you're at your first digital marketing job, for example, always take tons of notes, right? At my first job, I filled like half a notebook of just all the standard operating procedures in terms of ad creative, scaling, audience research, because your mind is tricky. Like you're gonna see something, your mind is gonna tell you it's something else. Next time you remember it, you're gonna remember as something even more different, and then you end up doing something that's completely different from the system you're taught. One of the things, like this is probably one of my biggest, like kind of not epiphanies, but like of last year, you can't. And like I've taken this idea to like darker extremes as well, but like, you cannot underestimate like how far from reality your own mind can go, right? Like there's no limit to like how you see people like doing fucked up. Like if you see like a crazy homeless person, right? To them, what they're doing makes sense. So if someone can be so removed from reality that they think being homeless is like the way to go, right? And obviously, not all homeless people are like that, but many of them think that what they're doing kind of makes sense. It's totally reasonable to think that you might be removed from reality enough where you're misinterpreting my course. Like, don't underestimate how wrong your brain can be about stuff.
Right. And I mean, I don't want to get too political here, but it can that really goes a long way explaining things like how cults can go and how, the leaders of cults can sometimes get their followers to pretty much believe and just do anything. Just because, one, people, to be honest, a lot of times people don't think for themselves, but a lot of times people's brains, even if no one's like, if no one's trying to do it like maliciously, just naturally, it can naturally disconnect itself from reality. So I think that's a really good point that you made right there.
We're built, and it's once again, it's like, we're made like the example. It's like someone like said I was a bit dark, but like the example I always use is like the what happened in World War II, the Holocaust, right? Lots of those, like, there's lots of people like you and me that did some really bad shit, and it's just because, once again, the human brain, like, it's built to follow, to kind of make up some ideas and then just follow them blindly. So you should always be kind of second guessing yourself and cross-reference yourself against reality or against the source you're learning from.
Right. There was a really nice quote from Mark Twain, I believe. He said, "If you find that you're on the side of the majority, it's time to pause and reflect."
Yeah, I love that one so much. Yeah,
and it is so true too. And so, kind of the last question here is, what's the next step for you?
Yeah, honestly, like, I'm still kind of thinking about this stuff because my goal now has kind of been to build like just a strong like digital marketing related income, and then go back to focus on my course. And one of the reasons for that, I've never wanted to be in a position where I'm making more from the course than from the other stuff I'm doing, just because I think it's just fake as fuck. I'm not a big fan of that. So I'm doing drop shipping, I'm doing client work, and depending on which one I like the most, I'm going to kind of just pick one, focus on that, and then just record a 2.0 version of the course and then scale it with paid traffic. And I'd have like those two income sources. And then just having fun, man. Like, honestly, I'm in Osaka right now. I've been, going out a lot. I've been at home the past few days because I got sick, but, you need to enjoy life as well. And enjoy it responsibly. Like, my philosophy is always like if I can't afford to do something, I'm not going to do it, right? I'm not, like, I'm completely happy with just, staying all day at home, working, eating on like a couple of dollars a day. Like, that's not a problem. But then once I have built like income where I can go and have fun without it having a negative impact on my future, then go have fucking fun, man. Because you're not going to be 22 your whole life.
That's what it's all about, isn't it? What's life if you can't have fun, right?
Really, man. And once again, responsible fun. Like, whenever you're traveling and doing stuff, like, always, this is especially for the people who kind of landed their first job, always do stuff in a way that won't have a negative impact on your future, right? So, like, when I had my job, I never traveled on holidays, right? I never took days off because my goal was to build skills as fast as possible, to save money as fast as possible. Because one thing I do see is people try to have fun too soon, and then that fucks up how much fun they can have long term. So, always have like an idea of like what you want to do in the future and make sure you're not fucking yourself over too much, right? Because there's many people, right, who maybe they watch your videos, they watch my videos, and they haven't, bought a course yet because they don't want to spend the money, but then they're spending, $40 in drinks every week they go out, right?
All right, Andrew, thank you for your time. Thanks for another really good episode of this show. I'll definitely leave a link to Andrew's channel in the description below. Definitely check out his videos if you aren't already. It's got a lot of really good information. I'd say that's a really good supplement to Seth's course. You might want to check out his course as well. But hope you liked the video, guys, and we'll see you in the next one. Hey, guys, I hope you liked this collaboration I did with Andrew. This is actually part 2 of kind of a 2-part interview we did. In this one, I interviewed him, but in the one that's on his channel, he interviewed me. So if you want to check that out, I'll put a link in the description below. And if you aren't already watching Andrew's videos, definitely go check it out. He's got a lot of really good stuff just about digital marketing and definitely what to do if you aren't getting jobs and a bunch of other stuff. But hope you liked the video. Definitely check out his channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.